There are moments in television history when a single controversy doesn't just damage a reputation, it exposes how fragile the entire system behind a show really is. And right now, that's exactly what appears to be happening around Whoopi Goldberg, the longtime face of The View. For decades, daytime talk shows have relied on familiarity, familiar hosts, familiar debates, familiar audiences who tune in almost out of habit. But habits can break overnight. And when they do, networks don't panic publicly, they panic quietly. Behind closed doors, in emergency meetings most viewers will never hear about. What makes this situation different from past celebrity controversies is speed. In the past, a scandal would unfold over weeks. Now it unfolds over hours. Clips spread, commentary channels react, hashtags trend, narratives form before official statements even exist. By the time traditional media catches up, public opinion has already split into opposing sides. Some defending, some criticizing, most just watching to see what happens next. And once a story reaches that stage, it stops being about facts alone, it becomes about perception. Ironically, a program designed to discuss controversies suddenly became the center of one. The View has always thrived on disagreement. That's its formula. Different perspectives at one table reacting to the biggest headlines of the day. But when the headline is about the show itself, the formula starts to break down. Because now every comment, every facial expression, every moment of silence gets analyzed frame by frame online. Viewers start asking questions like, why did that host look uncomfortable? Why did that topic change so quickly? Why does the energy feel different? Even if nothing is officially confirmed, audiences sense tension. And tension makes people watch, but it also makes them suspicious. Behind the scenes, situations like this create enormous pressure for networks. ABC, owned by the Walt Disney Company, isn't just managing a talk show, it's protecting a global brand. Daytime television might seem small compared to blockbuster films or theme parks, but reputational damage doesn't stay contained. It spreads across the entire company image. Advertisers begin asking questions. Affiliates monitor audience reactions. Executives analyze whether the controversy will fade or grow. And timing makes everything worse. Leadership transitions were already on the horizon, with CEO Bob Iger preparing for a future handoff while rising executives like Josh D'Amaro gained visibility. A crisis during a transition period is something corporations try desperately to avoid because uncertainty at the top, combined with controversy in the spotlight, can shake investor confidence as well as public trust. Television executives can manage scripts, they can control camera angles, they can issue statements, but they cannot control audience behavior. And modern audiences behave very differently from those of even 10 years ago. Today's viewers don't just consume content, they investigate it. They pause clips, zoom in on screenshots, compare statements from months apart, build timelines, share theories. In a sense, the audience has become a decentralized research team working in real time. That means once suspicion enters the conversation, it's incredibly difficult to remove. One of the most telling signs during controversies is not what people say, but what they stop saying. When public figures distance themselves, when collaborations quietly disappear, when invitations stop coming, it creates an unspoken narrative. No press release required. Hollywood operates heavily on association. Being seen with someone sends a message. Not being seen with them sends an even stronger one. And sometimes the quiet distancing happens not because of confirmed facts, but because nobody wants to be caught in the blast radius if things escalate. What audiences often forget is that controversies don't just affect careers, they affect daily life. Routine changes, security increases, public appearances become calculated decisions. Even something as simple as leaving a studio can turn into a strategic operation when public attention is at its peak. Fame magnifies everything's success and backlash alike. This situation represents a shift happening across the entire entertainment industry. The old model was simple. Media shapes the narrative, audience reacts. For decades, television networks controlled the conversation. They decided which stories mattered. They decided how those stories were framed. And audiences had very little ability to push back in real time. If a narrative was presented on TV, it often became the accepted version of events. But that era is over. Now the process has reversed. Audience reacts. Media scrambles to respond. A single viral post can force billion-dollar companies into emergency meetings. A trending hashtag can pressure executives faster than any competitor ever could. A clip filmed on a phone can overshadow professionally produced programming. Power hasn't just shifted, it has fractured. Instead of a few networks controlling attention, millions of individuals now share that power simultaneously. And legacy shows that built their success in a pre-social media era are now navigating a landscape where control is nearly impossible. Because they weren't designed for this environment. They were designed for a world where audiences waited for the next episode, not a world where audiences create the next headline themselves. Daytime TV used to be one of the safest bets in entertainment. While primetime shows came and went, daytime programs stayed consistent, sometimes running for decades with only minor changes. They became part of people's daily routines. Morning coffee, afternoon chores, a familiar show playing in the background. It wasn't just content, it was comfort. But comfort relies on stability, and stability relies on trust. Today, trust is more fragile than ever. Viewers no longer see television personalities as distant figures on a screen. They see them as public figures whose statements can be fact-checked instantly, replayed endlessly, and debated globally. One moment of controversy can follow a show for years through clips, screenshots, and commentary videos. In the past, yesterday's episode disappeared after it aired. Now, it lives forever online. If audiences begin to see a show as part of the controversy rather than a place to discuss it, the entire purpose of the program starts to collapse. Instead of being a neutral platform, it becomes another participant in the drama. And once that perception forms, rebuilding credibility becomes incredibly difficult. Because loyalty in television isn't just about liking a show. It's about habit. Viewers tune in automatically until one day they don't. And breaking a daily viewing habit is easier than rebuilding it. Once audiences replace a show with something else streaming, social media, podcasts, or short-form content, they rarely return at the same level. That's the hidden threat facing long-running programs today. Not cancellation overnight, but slow irrelevance. The biggest danger isn't that viewers stop watching because of one controversy. It's that they discover they don't need the show anymore. Because in a world where news, commentary, and entertainment exist everywhere at once, attention has become the most competitive currency of all. And daytime television is no longer competing only with other TV shows. It's competing with the entire internet. Whether this storm fades or intensifies, it highlights a reality every public figure now faces. In the digital age, reputation isn't managed weekly or monthly. It's managed minute by minute. One viral clip can outweigh years of credibility. One controversy can redefine a career narrative overnight. And once the internet decides a story matters, there's no off switch. Because the real question isn't whether a show can survive controversy. It's whether it can survive a world where the audience controls the spotlight. Because today, viewers aren't just watching the story unfold, they are the ones deciding how it ends. And for legacy television, that shift in power may be the most dangerous change of all. The spotlight no longer belongs to networks. It no longer belongs to celebrities. It belongs to millions of people online refreshing their feeds, forming opinions, and shaping reputations in real time. So the next time a controversy explodes out of nowhere, remember, it's not just a scandal. It's a test of who really holds influence in modern media. And right now, that answer is becoming clearer than ever. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories mainstream media won't fully explain. Because the biggest headlines aren't always what they seem on the surface, and the truth behind them is often far more complicated. Drop your thoughts in the comment. Do you think situations like this are temporary storms or signs of a much bigger shift happening in entertainment? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.